wondered why certain people just don't buy from you and you can't figure out why after you leave the door or you walk out that night? And you think back on the conversation and you're wondering why didn't they buy from me? Well, it's probably because they fell into four different personality categories. And those four are going to be the bulls of the world, the owls of the world, the tigers of the world, and then the sheep of the world. Now, you'll hear this from different salespeople and gurus out there that have different methodologies for exactly the same concept we're talking about today. But at the end of the day, there is going to be a certain type of person that you're going to talk to in sales that is going to have a certain impact against what it is that you're trying to sell them. Now, if we break it down by which category of who fits within where, what's really cool if you look at the four different personality traits is they actually are opposites of each other. So for instance, the owl is very much the opposite of the tiger, and the sheep is very much the opposite of the bull. Now, again, these are just going to be psychologies of individuals and behavioral patterns. It's not going to be a one-size-fits-all for everything. But it'll get you a lot closer to where you want to go as you encounter these people across your sales career. So if we're going to go ahead and talk about the bull as the starter here, this type of personality is very similar to who I am as a person. My behaviorals go right in line with a bull type of personality. And these are people that are just very not interested in all of the sales tactics that a lot of folks will try to use, or not really into trying to have a set conversation with you about the product that you're pitching, whatnot. They kind of just want to know the facts, and they will always elevate the situation in the very beginning, and they are hoping to see you react to it or respond to it in a light that they see as good or beneficial. And for a bull is that they're usually going to be a lot higher energy, so they will have a lot more of that immediate type of, intense type of conversation when you start pitching them or you try selling them something. And in order to combat this overcome it, is that you're going to want to have a very, very matched, elevated style as them. So if they come off aggressive, then not to say that you come off aggressive as well, but match their energy. This is going to be extremely successful as far as conversion rates go, because it's going to help you get up to their level, and it's going to have them help you, or they're going to respect you more because of your ability to match where they have been and where they're going. And like I said, the opposites are the other side of things. So if we'll shift from the bulls to the sheep, and I'll get into it more later as far as what the sheep's personalities are. But sheeps are a lot different than the bulls, where they don't want that energy matched, and they'd actually rather you just know it, lead them down the path of just no bull, for instance. So, but going into more methodology of the bull is that there is going to be these types of people out there that you're going to encounter all the time. And in the very first encounter of this, a lot of times you need to match the behavioral that they're putting on there. And what's really great is that bulls are very, very, very fun to work with, because if you actually have something of value to pitch them and you match that energy, they are most likely going to listen to you. They're some of my favorite people to sell. Personally, I am a bull personality, so it makes it a lot easier with that. But at the end of the day, they are people that if, again, there is enough value presented up front, there is going to be a very, very good chance that you can get this deal closed. So moving on from the bull now into the second category, we'll move to the sheep. These are individuals that are typically like your grandma, or people that are really kind of intimidated by change, don't really want to make new things or just rash decisions. They're the types of people that would rather have their hand held through an entire sales process all the way up until the very end. And these are individuals that just are totally opposite of a bull. Like, you cannot come at them with aggressive behavior. You cannot come at them with like commission breath, as we like to call it in the industry. Like, you have to be very gentle with your sales process while talking to these individuals. And with these folks, these are, again, some of the more quieted people out there that don't really have much of an opinion. They don't like high energy. They'd rather just be kind of led down the path as quietly, as quickly as possible, to where it doesn't spook them out of the sales process. So when selling these folks, I really recommend, when identifying them as that sheep type personality or behavioral pattern, is to keep it very, very casual. Like, you want to lower your voice, you want to talk a lot lower, you want to be slow with the details, and you want to kind of lead them down the path and make sure that they feel like they're not going to be led astray. That's going to be a very, very important concept for them, is that they don't want to feel like at the end of the sales process that A, they don't have all their questions answered, and B, that they're getting like the wool pulled over their eyes. So the more detailed to the pace that they want to go you can get, the better, because this is what's going to really make them feel comfortable during that sales process. So like I mentioned, it's very, very, very different than that of somebody that's a bull, because a bull is quick. They want to know the details fast. They want you to have high levels of confidence. They want you to just keep up with them as they're going down that pace. So moving from the sheep now over to the owl section. These are some of my least favorite people to sell, but my business partner Josh, I'm sure you guys have seen his content. He's very much an owl. An owl is the type of people that are very, very detail oriented. They want to know all of the analytics. They're very, very much concerned with the ROI of whatever it is you're trying to sell them. They want to make sure that if they were to implement whatever product or service you're putting in front of them, that is going to give them the best results that they could ever ask for. And the reason why this is important to understand is because if you come across an owl and you're trying to pitch them quickly, or you're trying to match their energy by being a little too over the top or aggressive, or you try to slow things down and try to go at a very snail's type of pace in order to accommodate to someone like a sheep, an owl is going to become disinterested, because there isn't going to be a whole lot of content that they can consume from the value you're presenting to them up front, nor are they going to understand the true value at the end of the sale. So it's going to be difficult to convert on folks like that. So think of that when you come across those individuals is, okay, how can I tailor my pitch to somebody that is more like an owl, and to where I can give them as much details as humanly possible that is going to give them that comfort level to then want to sign the deal, whatever service or product you're selling. These folks are very, very different from the tigers. So that's that fourth personality. Totally different sides of the spectrum here. And we'll get into that later here in a second as far as their personalities go. But one of the very important things to go over, like I mentioned with owls, is they really like the details. All the other personalities we talked about, they're not really too concerned with that much with the details. Owl personalities are very, very, very interested in the details. The reason why this is important to them is, going back to what I said earlier, is that ROI, return on investment. So if I were to buy your product, or if I were to, say yes to your service, is it going to give me the results that I want? Now, this is something that you can navigate relatively easily if you are prone to picking up on these personality traits really quickly. And it's going to give you a competitive edge against the next guy that comes and knocks on the door, or the next person that walks into the dealership. Because when you identify this person really, really, really quickly, right out the gates, the first 10 seconds, you should be able to figure out who this individual is personality-wise. It's going to then help you lead that conversation towards the route you want it to go. So we're in sales, so we want the deal to close. So when you're learning of these things and you're picking up on his personalities with an owl, is start with the details first. You make sure they feel comfortable with the statements that you're giving them, and back that up with confidence. Because if they see that the details that you're presenting them have holes in them and they start to poke, and then you start to crumble and fall apart and you fold relatively quickly, you're going to lose the deal well before you even get past the certain hello, because they're going to see right through you and notice that they're not a person of confidence, and that the details you give them could be wrong. So they don't want to risk it. So they're not even going to try. So moving on from the owl, let's go talk about the tiger now, the last and fourth personality. These are some of my favorite people to also work with as well, because they're the very high energy people. We can all think of in our life folks that match this criteria probably instantly. And these are the individuals that are actually, the opposite of the owls, because they are very much not interested in the details. They want to know about the results, but they want to know it in a different way than the owl, because the owl's curious about the path it takes to get the results, versus the tiger is only interested in the result. So with the result that you're selling, talk about the cruise that they're going to go on, and talk about the places they're going to go and the places they're going to visit. Or if you're a car salesman, talk about all the amazing features that will get them to feel the amazingness of that said car after they drive it off the lot. They don't want to know all the details of what it's going to take contract-wise to get the car, and they're going to want to know all the small little details that don't matter to them, like, oh, this car has a trunk space of X size, there's a spare tire in the back. They don't care about those things. They care about the luxuries of the world, like, oh, this car has massagers with inside the chairs, and the cars are heated and cooled, and it's going to be perfect for this because when you live inside this warm state, you're going to be able to cool things down, and yada yada. You're going to talk about all of those pleasantries, the result that they're looking for, which is what's going to really buy into their personality trait. So I really recommend you studying these 4 different personalities. Every person you encounter will most likely fall underneath one of those categories, and it'll be very surprising to you when you start to see those in your sales role, and you can start to navigate those conversations a lot better. Hope this is helpful. If you want to see more content like this, I'm going to come out with videos very often, so like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.